everybody. We're getting started here. Make sure that everything is working here. Grab that.
Play Africa by Toto.
No, I've gotten too many DMCAs now.
Too many. Jesus Christ.
I think one is one too many.
Oh, I think like 5 is 5 too many.
Wait.
Jesus.
Hold on, I need to go look at this
No,
now.
I've mostly, well, no, I don't think I've dealt with them. I'm sure, I think I got another one. I don't know. Hey, Sean, if you're in there, like there's usually like a button you can hit and just have like the AI take the song out or whatever. You can just do that. Hit that.
Wait, whoa. Hang on.
Okay, where's this? What am I looking for? Discord app.
That's
In
for all the
browser.
podcasts. What the hell did you guys do on Nintendogs that they didn't like?
I think I played Final Countdown.
Oh, okay, yeah, that, you know what, that one stands, all right. That's fair.
You see the Final Countdown they didn't like.
Yeah.
Hello.
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 My camera's doing that thing again.
God damn it, Jeff, they're all you playing music in the intro.
Yeah. And okay, so we can just cut it off and then it'll be fine. But I just don't have time to actually go in there and do that.
Yeah, I'll see if they got the mute button for us.
All right, yeah, just mute it.
18,000 workers? No, ain't no way.
What, at Amazon?
Amazon? Well, why not?
Amazon?
Microsoft just did 10,000.
Oh my
Wait,
goodness.
Facebook was 11,000.
Bro, that's a nice number to make like a revolution or something. Like you can do some work with those
towns that
folks.
they're laying off. Yeah.
Yes, like an entire yeah. I could like take over a small government with those numbers.
Oh yeah, easily. You had 10,000 people, you could take over any government. All right. Don't clip that.
Pieces of shit. Don't get sad, get angry. Make anger fuel your life.
In the city. All right, there's.
So anyway,
all
stop
of
playing
this.
DMCA music over the fucking intro.
All right. Listen, lesson learned after like the 8th time.
Okay, no, now this is some BS. Someone's trying to claim the cruising song, and I will not have
they
that
are?
stand. Yeah.
Wait, is it?
That's just wrong,
Is it
dude.
just some like random entity?
Yeah, it's completely random. Yeah, it's
All of them
completely
have
BS.
been. This is like, it's like some thing pretending to be Sony Music in Brazil. It's like, this belongs to us. It's like, this is a cover created in Mario Paint. You might have some rights to it, but you don't own the copyright.
Now, granted, it's 20 seconds, so I'm not going to go through the effort of fighting it. But
All right, everybody, we're getting real close to starting. Just one more minute, probably. Did you do what you think will be the top 10 games of the year, Mike?
Mike, you in here?
You know, I was going to, then I'm like, that's not right. We never prepare things. Jeff must mean we're going to figure it out together on the stream.
All right, we can do that. That's, you know what? That's totally fine.
Let's do that.
Let's do
I'll just
that.
listen to your list, and I'll critique it where I want to. How about that?
I honestly thought that's what I would do, is I would bring it, and then I changed it. I'm like, we'll just both bring our own list. But no, I'll bring my list, and then you tell me where I'm wrong. That's great. Okay, cool.
I was like, there's no way Jeff made a list, especially today.
No, I didn't make it today. I made this like last week.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
wait, you prepared a week in advance for a podcast?
Listen,
Who are you?
Listen, maybe I might have taken some of my Adderall over the weekend. We don't have to talk about it, okay?
Drug enhanced list. I see how
suddenly you're all
it is.
medical professionals. Okay. Yeah.
How many holes did you dig?
Oh, so many fucking holes, man. So many holes. All right, YouTube Studio.
What are those holes? Nobody knows.
I'll never
Are
tell.
holes
Mike
for
got
pressure?
out one somehow.
I think they're holes for bodies. I think he kills people and then he puts
If
them
anyone
in there.
in the comments guesses what the holes are for, I will. I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. I'll confirm.
Yeah,
About the
I was
screen.
that if it's true or is it a lie.
We'll pin the comment.
Yeah, we'll pin the
that's a
comment. There
Big
you go.
reward.
There you go.
No, they're not holes for the mods. They're too fancy for us.
All right. There's that. Mike, I'm gonna bring up your face as you finish your food.
Almost done. Speed running. What is the medical theory on rice these days? That bad for you? Or is that good for you again?
Did you say
I
what
don't
is
care.
the?
I just eat it.
Oh, rice. God. Okay. I thought you said what is the medical theory on race, and I was like, oh no.
Race.
Wow. Cool.
What's that?
Cool. I'm
No,
gonna get
again,
canceled 'cause I
Mike,
do a
what did I
podcast with this
do?
guy.
Race theory?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about race science. Oh God.
Jeff, I don't know what your day's like, but I've been listening to a lot of Jordan Peterson.
Oh no. Oh no.
And in fact, it happened for years. You don't know this about me. My favorite Twitter account is Libs of TikTok.
No.
No.
Oh God. It's all done. It's all going
The
bad.
worst.
It's all going wrong.
The worst plot twist.
Okay, let's see here. I think that we are. I need one more thing there, and I need a tweet, but then we'll be good.
Woman is a dragon.
Copy video.
Gotta start putting more vegetables in my stir fry. I didn't have time to think.
The holes are for. I don't know. We'll read that in super chat. Eventually.
All right, yeah, we'll get all the super chats. Don't worry about that,
Yes, thank
everybody.
you, everybody.
Don't worry about it.
But I will say that is incorrect.
Yes.
Good guess, though, Greg.
Okay, I'm ready. Mike, you ready?
Right, sir.
You got the music?
I did get it. Yes.
Did you turn off that thing that makes it hard for me to
didn't hear
hear
the
it in
music.
you?
I don't know. Let me look. Oh, it's already off. I didn't turn it
Alright.
off, but it's already off. I didn't know it was off. I was just gonna roll
Wow.
the dice. You know what? Let's just test it. Let me. Goodbye, Sonic R. The one song that doesn't ever get DMCA'd.
There's nobody in that department
Oh, there
looking
is.
for that one.
Yeah,
Not even the
no.
robots are like, what is this shit?
Hear it?
No.
Nope.
Oh, that's right.
Fucking knew it.
That's right. I turned that off earlier.
I hear
There
it.
you go.
All right. Now we're good. Okay.
All right.
All right. I'm going to count us in. I'm going to hit record and we'll get started. Here we go. 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the Game Mess Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
In today's episode, I have a list, and I want Mike to tell me where I'm wrong. But first, Mike, how are you doing?
Well, I'm a little stressed out, so I can't imagine how maybe some other people are doing. Pretty angry, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Jeff?
A bit numb. Honestly, I guess I'll catch people up. Some of my coworkers were laid off today at Giant Bomb. Some of our colleagues were laid off over at GameSpot. I will probably talk about this a little bit more on Game S Mornings tomorrow when I do that. But I mean, the reality is we didn't know, no idea this was happening, and it was never the kind of thing. The way it went down, you can very much tell it was not some like well thought out thing. It was just numbers on a spreadsheet getting chopped off, and that's it. There is no rhyme or reasoning to it, and that makes it feel a little bit more. That's why I'm kind of numb. I'm like, how do I? Like I'm angry, but like, how do I even process this? It's tough. So it's here's what I'll say. Jess and Jason rule. So does Justin Vachon, our sweet little art boy. They rule. They're great, and it was awesome getting to work with them and watch. When I go to work at a place first, Mike, I just usually sit back and try to not put myself onto other people. But I would notice like things would get asked of them, and they would always get done every single time. And they would ask like, "Oh, here, can you actually change your entire way of doing things because it fits better with the way everyone else is doing something?" They would do it every time without question. And it's like seeing that like over and over again. It's like, man, these are just great coworkers. These are great people to work with. And it's very frustrating to be like, well, we need them, and now we don't have them. And why? No one really knows. So, I kind of have to just kind of keep being numb about it because I don't know how to process it otherwise.
No, we're just firing nice, talented, competent, hardworking people because everybody has to apparently now.
Everyone just has to. That's just
everyone just has to. So then, like in 6 months or whatever, we can all hire people again, and maybe they'll be as good. I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's distasteful. Shame on management of fandom. Whoever let this happen, especially the way it happened, seems like it was just really out of nowhere with very little notice. And I don't know. It's just a weird situation, especially the people that they targeted for it. Doesn't seem to make any sense to me. It all fucking sucks.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna need to keep doing stuff over at Giant Bomb, and that's the plan. We're gonna keep doing Giant Bomb. There's no reason to stop other than it's gonna be very hard to keep making content on like the way it is now. So we're gonna need help, and the things we're gonna need are the things the people that have just been laid off were doing. It is just so wild.
Wow, if only we could find somebody to do these things.
Yes, it's gonna be very frustrating, and again, a terrible thing couldn't have happened to nicer people. So undeserved. So I'm definitely going to just be going with that survivor's guilt for a while, and not to all make it about me, just like that's what I'm dealing with now. So I'm going to keep talking about video games. It's the one thing I continually do that helps me get through things. So I'm just going to keep doing that. So yes, Game Mess mornings tomorrow. And then we probably won't do a UPF, but yeah, I'm gonna do this show too. So I'm happy to be here talking with you, Mike. I'll say that much. This is nice.
I love you, Jeff.
Love you too, Mikey. All right, we're gonna get into everything. First, I want to thank you all for joining us. You can get more from Mike and me by joining the Discord at GameMess.net. If you want to ask us a question, you can drop a super chat during the show here on YouTube. We will answer all of those before the end. Thank you to Carlos Ain, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme songs. We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever pods are caught. Give us a good rating wherever you are listening, and hit that like button. It does help people find the show. Thank you to our mods who have been very helpful, keeping things going, keeping the trains running on time. Support us by going to patreon.com/GameMess. All that support really does help make this worth our time. It gets you access to the private channels inside the Discord, makes you a podcast producer where we take your feedback. You're going to hear some of that feedback on the show tonight when we get to one of our main topics. The monthly Q&A, you get access to that. You get 1 month early access to our live Jeopardy game, which you can watch live before everyone else, and then up to a month later you can watch it before everyone else. And you get your participation in our monthly game club discussions hosted by Mikey. What do you guys playing Resident Evil, right?
Oh yeah, we've been playing Resident Evil. We played the remake. Some of us, including myself, went back and played the original. I did it afterward. TurboSean's actually been doing it on his stream first before he goes to play the remake.
Yeah, I want to spend a little bit of time with that and hop in there with you guys. So I'll be doing that. And again, that's, if you want to go in there and have that conversation, it's a podcast. You could be on one of our podcasts. It's just join the Patreon there. It's a good time.
It's open to all podcast producers. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait for this month because I spoilers, I really liked Resident Evil, both versions of it, which is, I feel so stupid. Be like, wow, this Resident Evil is a good video game.
Yeah, they might have a future here in making these Resident Evil games.
They might be onto something here.
That's funny. All right, Mike, I got a couple of news topics from the week I wanted to talk to you about. First, Microsoft is laying off devs at 343 Industries, the coalition, and Bethesda Game Studios. This is part of their big 10,000 employee job cut thing that they're doing because, as we said when we were talking about the job cuts at Fandom, just because it seems to be. It's not like, I mean, Microsoft specifically, but all these companies. I kind of get it with Facebook, right? Facebook is like lost in the woods.
Right, you get it. Like they're making a pivot to something that's probably not going to pan out, and they have to dump money into it.
Yes,
It still sucks, and I still ultimately they have a billionaire boss. It's still stupid.
right.
But
Clearly,
you can,
the employees should not be paying for this strategic failure from the top, right?
yes.
But
But Microsoft, what the hell? What the hell is this, Jeff? This pisses me off.
yeah, it's baffling and it's inexplicable, and I think it's inexplicable because there actually is no explanation. It is just as simple as we hired a bunch of people, and it's fine. We could definitely pay them all, and we can keep paying them all, and we could use all the efforts that they put toward bettering this company, and we have strategic uses for everything. But we can imagine a future where things aren't quite as rosy. So let's just freak out now and cut 10,000 jobs. And I said this on Game This Mornings today, and it applies to every single story, but the companies never do things because they need to. They do things because they can get away with it. Like, that's how you work. That's how you operate in a capitalistic society. You need to take every opportunity to take as much as you can and get away with as much as you can. And right now they're like looking like, I guess we did hire a lot of people during the pandemic. What can we get away with? Well, everyone else is firing like 10,000 people. So if we do it right now while everyone else is doing it, it's not going to look like, oh, Microsoft is in trouble. It looks like Microsoft is being prudent. Microsoft is being shrewd, and they're doing the hard thing that they have to do in order to stay profitable. And it's like, well, no, they're already incredibly profitable.
Right, and I wonder if that's why 343 was such an easy target for them, because people aren't happy with Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
Then they go after the campaign team. I mean, gosh, that's a great campaign. I feel like everybody liked that campaign for the most part. And it's like, well, great. Well, who's gonna make the next Halo? Like,
it seems like nobody right now is what it seems like. That's kind of how it feels.
And if you have Halo and you mess that up, that's not the fault of the programmers and the artists and whoever else they probably fired. That is management at Xbox, maybe the highest management at 343. I don't know. It certainly isn't the rank and file developers and artists. It's complete bullshit.
And that's what we heard from some former 343 Industries employees specifically. And to be clear, it's not just 343. It's the Coalition Bethesda Game Studios. Bethesda Game Studios working on Starfield right now. I got to imagine that no one fired was someone who's actively working on Starfield. That's just me kind of being like, that would be crazy. That would be bananas. But who knows?
If they aren't, they're supposed to be making an Elder Scrolls, and that's like going to be expected to be like the biggest game ever. And then after that, maybe a Fallout. How can you afford to lose people there? Then the Coalition has just had their heads down working on projects forever now. And again, like, you need Gears. It's baffling. And then all this is happening while Phil Spencer is accepting some award and making allusions to cancel culture. Just really, I don't know, just really blowing it over there this week.
Yeah, the criticisms towards Microsoft regarding like the management and their strategic, like the way that they make games was very pointed from these former developers. It was saying things like their use of contractors was demoralizing and caused all these other issues, and they do it because of tax incentives, but it does not help the game. And it's like, I mean, honestly, when you're laying off a bunch of people who you're like, you're right, you were working on Starfield, or maybe you weren't, maybe you're working on the game after that. Well, is the plan to just replace them with more contractors? Because that's just going to exacerbate all these problems that these former employees are pointing out. I don't know. It does feel a little bit like things have never been fully in control over at Microsoft, and they've been, I guess, padding it with really flowery language regarding their feelings about what the future of gaming can be and the promises of Game Pass. And I have and still believe some of those promises. But when you couple it with, well, the games and the development teams need to be taken care of, and you do need to be competent at the top so that the tens of thousands of people working underneath you can feel good about their jobs. And clearly many people did not, and now they're being laid off after putting up with your strategic failures. It's a recipe for people are just going to want to keep leaving. Things are going to get worse at Microsoft, not better. At least that's how it feels today. I don't know.
Right, exactly. I mean, I think it's been safe to feel kind of shaky about Xbox for a little bit here. Again, they released no major games last year. We still don't really have a release date for Starfield, so that's weird. There's a lot of things that were kind of what's going on with Fable, what's going on with Perfect Dark, 343. God knows what's going on there, and it's hard to feel super great about. And then this doesn't seem like the time to be retreating or to making these kind of weird moves that just make you feel even less confident in them. Again, like I feel like they were pretty lucky. I feel like to have so many people be like, yeah, they should own Activision Blizzard. It's kind of weird. This is consolidation, but we kind of get it. It makes sense. I feel less good about that now. Like, what are they just gonna buy that studio, buy them, and then just gut them relentlessly?
Yeah, I think that the status quo of Activision being Activision is not great, and it always felt like, well, Microsoft's saying good things about unions, and again, I still think that's true, but that feels even more like lip service to get that deal done today than it ever did before, and it always sort of felt like lip service, 100%, like, oh, they might do that, but that doesn't mean it's going to be sunshine and rainbows working at Microsoft as opposed to Activision. I always thought, like, yeah, the status quo from one versus the changed environment of Microsoft owning this is going to be pretty equivalent. So whatever. I don't know. At this point, it's like, not that this is like the law or what the FTC can really operate on, but I don't want Microsoft to have that if this is the way they are going to behave with their studios. And we got that Microsoft Developer Direct Showcase coming up on January 25th. It's going to be pretty hard to feel excited about any new games they show, anything that's going on there, because I'm just going to keep having these questions. Are these people going to feel like more job cuts are coming? Right. Are they going to feel like, or have they been operating under a circumstance where it's like, this is being made by contractors and our next game is going to be even more made by contractors, and that sucks and continues to suck? Seems like that might be the case. So it's
if only Microsoft had a few overpaid executives or a war chest of any kind that they could pull from instead of just firing people.
Yeah, it's not like that's the obvious sort of, when you look at it on its face. You're firing 10,000 people. You're not pulling back away from spending $69 billion to acquire another corporation. I mean, obviously you have the money, and your priorities lie with this big play in the space that might get turned down anyhow, rather than accepting that you did hire a lot of people. And that's the excuse from all these companies, is that, oh, the pandemic, we hired too many people, and now we're getting over that. We're all
whose fault is that?
Yeah, and it's like, exactly, this is not the fault of the people you hired up, and you couldn't have predicted that things would eventually level out. Like, we all knew this would happen. All throughout 2021, what we were saying on the like probably next year, the comparisons from the MPD, we're going to look at it and things are going to start flattening out because the pandemic was going to come to an end, and it happened, and it's like, well, duh.
Yeah, I remember getting annoyed the first time an MPD came in. It was like a year-over-year decline, and a lot of people were like, oh wow, this is really bad news. I'm like, well,
no,
I mean, this was going to have to happen, right? Like, you all prepared for this, right?
Yeah.
No, you were just all going to freak out and scream. Okay, great.
And it's those year-over-year comparison bad compared to the pre-pandemic years, very, very up still, and that continues to be the case. The industry is much bigger today than it was before the pandemic. It maintained many of those gains. Many of the people that ran out to get a console during the pandemic years still have one and are still pretty regularly buying games. There is a bigger audience than ever, and you were capitalizing on that, again, as evidenced by the profits that these companies are cashing. And, Nintendo hasn't done this, right? Sony, I think, which is in a situation where they are very worried about their profitability. Every division inside of Sony besides PlayStation is in really rough shape. And even they aren't like, well, let's freak out and fire everybody. They're like, no, let's make more games and keep everyone on. It's a bad look for Microsoft.
343, they work on Halo. That should be Microsoft's premier studio, and it isn't. And, whose fault is that? Again, I don't think it's the artists and developers, the people getting fired. But it's embarrassing to fire people from the studio that makes Halo. Can you imagine if Sony right now is like, we're firing a bunch of people at Naughty Dog?
Yep. Yeah. Kind of regardless of the situation would look bad, and regardless of the qualities of the games. And firing people from, like, the Coalition has done nothing but put out games that the fans of Gears of War really like for the most part. I know there's some issues with the multiplayer games, but the Coalition's got, like, the studio
people like 5, I know, right?
What's that?
People liked Gears 5 a good bit.
Gears 5, they really liked Hive Busters, and then the Coalition's showing up and helping everyone get their games across the finish line. They're your Unreal experts. I don't know. At a certain point, it's like you got to just take the hit and worry about morale more than worrying about some possible recession, which we continue talking ourselves into it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy because of shit like this. People see these headlines like, well, if Microsoft knows something we don't, and they don't know, they see everyone else do it, they can get away with it, so they're doing it.
Can you imagine how awful it's going to be when they start talking about like using AI to help develop their games and whatnot after doing this?
Yeah.
God,
I mean,
God help me.
Yeah, and that's going to be so messy. And I remember about a year ago or 2 years ago when I first started really using my Google Home Assistant thing, and I would ask it to do something, and I start like most of the time it wouldn't do it very well. But I'm like the future of creating things and the future of like programming is just going to be like the language of the future is going to be English. It's not going to be C++. It's just going to be telling the computer what you want, and it's going to be smart enough to do it. And at the time I was like, that's going to be cool. And now I'm like, we're staring down the barrel of the gun, and it's like. My former owners, Red Ventures, is having AI write articles for CNET, and it's like,
right,
what the hell? So we're already here. And it's already a nightmare.
Just full on going for it. Yeah, you say that, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like the holodeck. Cool. Computer.
Yeah,
make
exactly.
A table this side. Yeah, like haha, cool. Then you really think about it. You think about it more than that surface level.
Yep.
And I mean, it's coming either way. So I guess that's where like the long-term stress is. It's just what is going to be happening, because you're seeing more layoffs just all around. Amazon's had some, Riot did some today also. It's just all over the place. It's just, I'm worried it's just going to keep spiraling for a while, and then there's all these other uncertainties as everybody freaks out, and I don't know.
Yep.
So there's going to be some normalcy at some point. It's weird that like it is weird how like during the pandemic, which sucked, gaming was in a pretty good place and our jobs felt okay, and now it's like it's over, and now it's all gone to shit.
Yep, and it's one layoff after another in game companies, one layoff after another in media, obviously. So yeah, it's rough out there. It's frustrating because it's never the employees putting anyone in these situations. But boy, are they paying for it. Okay. Oh, also Joseph Staten is apparently leaving 343 to go back to Microsoft Games Publishing. So weird stuff's happened over 343.
Yeah, so much for Halo.
Ubisoft CEO apologizes for internal comments after weak software sales.
Beginning to not like CEOs very much, Jeff.
Yeah, there might be something going on where like there
might be something weird,
where we don't really need them and they need us. It's weird.
Imagine that.
It's this is based on him, Yves Guillemot, saying the ball is in your court and it's on you to work harder to make sure that all our games are as good as possible so that we get out of this situation that we're in. Apparently, they had an all-hands meeting. There was a question submitted by one of the employees, and this is after like the Ubisoft Paris union was like, hey, everyone at Ubisoft Paris, you're going to strike on January 29th in response to what he said. Someone submitted this question, and a bunch of people upvoted it, so it got asked to Yves Guillemot, and it was basically said, like, you say the ball is on our court, but the ball for years was in your hands, and you fumbled it really badly. Why is it now up to us to fix it? And it's like, that's a very, very good question. What the hell? And he's like, I didn't mean it that way.
Because he doesn't have an actual answer for that, huh?
No, I mean, the answer is because I don't know how to fix it.
Because I'm incompetent.
Yeah, because I'm incompetent, and I have my brother and my son in charge of a part of this company for years because it was a publicly traded company that I treated like a family business, and I sucked at it. And here we are, and now I need you all to work hard because I can't pay you anymore, and I can't pay to bring other people in. It's hearing that stuff. It's like, oh, these corporations really they don't understand the relationship that we have. You pay us to do the work, and we'll do that work. And then you come back and say, now I need you to do even more, but I can't pay you more and get you more help. But so, well, what if I come to you and say, hey, I need more from you? No, they don't want to hear that ever. They don't ever want to hear that. So Yves Guillemot, I guess, is trying to pull out of this a little bit, but I don't think this apology is going to be enough. I don't know if there's been an update on this regarding like whether or not that union is still asking for the strike. I bet they probably are. It's France. Yeah, and good. But we'll see. I don't know. I mean, we talked about Ubisoft a lot last week, but how do you think it's developed since then?
Not great. I mean, it seems like it seems like what's supposed to be their call to action from Yves is instead just pissed everyone else off and demoralized them. So if the big problem there was, maybe people aren't being productive enough, how productive do you think people are right now? It's hard to imagine it just not getting worse, Jeff. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of people there just want to make games, just want to make good games. and they're probably very talented, so they still can make good games. And if you release good games, those can make money, and that can still happen.
Yep.
But it just seems like the odds are stacked against them.
Yep. The chances of growth based on trying to make like big plays at Ubisoft right now, that seems off the table. It seems like they can maybe maintain what they've had, and that's not going to be enough. Right now in France, people are rioting because they're trying to raise the age of retirement from 62 to 64. So it's already in the air over there. And Yusuke all being like, this is not gonna turn out great for them if they're like already ready to take to the streets because of the retirement age. You're gonna have to deal with some angry French laborers, and you never want that on your hands if you're a CEO. I want it, but they don't want it.
Let's go. Let's go join the riots. We can go to Disneyland while we're there.
Hell yeah, let's do it. I still call it Euro Disney, Mike. I'll never stop.
It's kind of a fun name.
It is. It's a good name.
Yeah.
Mike.
Euro Itchy and Scratchy Land.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I think we should probably take a quick break. When we come back, I have a couple of topics, including a list of what I think are going to be the top 10 games of 2023, Mike, and I want you to tell me where I'm wrong. Does that sound good?
I love telling you when you're wrong, Jeff.
All right, take a quick break. We'll get to that right after that. Okay. All right.
Bathroom yet?
Okay.
We got a lot of super chats. Maybe I should read this first wave of them when we come back before we jump into.
Yeah, that sounds great. Perfect. Okay. Thank you for all the super chats. I also
thank you, everyone.
I see some people saying, "Hey, get a beer for Jason and Jess." Jess has a Patreon, and if you want to give money, please send money her way directly to her. I appreciate it, of course, and I'll do what I can. But make sure that you guys keep that in mind. And if Jason ever asks for help, we're all going to show up, right? So if Jason ever puts anything out and says, "Hey, I got a Patreon, I got a GoFundMe," we're all going to show up, okay? So thank you all for the super chats so far. Okay. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you for links mods.
Yes, thank you. All right, let's bring it back here in a second. Let me make sure I'm all lined up. Where do I have my top 10? I got it right there. Let's bring it up. That looks pretty good. Okay.
Yes, Jess is also streaming right now on Twitch, so make sure you follow her. She's been doing her first Final Fantasy VII playthrough.
Yes.
While her fiance is kind of guiding her a bit. It's
yep.
Fun.
Okay, let's bring it back. Mike, so far we've gotten a ton of super chats, a lot of questions. Yes. Why don't we read those really fast right now?
Let's do it, Jeff. First one here is from Big Jimbo Ryan. He says, "I'm sorry to say, but Knack 3 is canceled. It was too good. They didn't want it to outshine The Last of Us. It'd be understandable if our stock started to drop." I mean, we can understand that because then you would have to make a Knack show, which nobody could afford.
Right. It would require too many particles. Busy. You need a supercomputer over at CERN to even like render the show. Absolutely.
Here's a nice thought from Big Jimbo Ryan with another one. He says, "I pray Xbox recovers. They're the shadow to my Sonic."
Thank you, Big Jimbo Ryan.
Glad Jimbo Ryan did say anything about cancel culture.
Yes. Yeah. Good job this week, Jimbo.
Epic Open World says, "Why lay off people from 343 Bethesda Coalition? Microsoft has studios they bought that haven't announced games. Any job loss sucks. But to those studios? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, like 343, I can understand how they maybe thought, well, we can get away with this. Maybe even the gamers will like that. Yeah, 343, bad. Coalition of Bethesda, no idea.
Yeah,
it all sucks.
It really, and again, I bet that if we had full access to understanding the process, it would still not make sense because there's probably no reasoning, just like what happened with fandom today.
This is like not as important. It bums me out that like Halo Infinite is just going to have this terrible legacy. Because when that game came out, I loved it.
It's a good game,
and I had fun with it for a long time. And even if like they did just mess up the progression, the monetization, I was like, well, I guess that was just a game I enjoyed for 6 months, whatever.
Yeah, and I did, but
yeah,
now it's just totally tainted.
Yeah, its reputation legacy just gets worse and worse as time goes on somehow.
Yep.
A Low Rule Legend asks, who wins in a game of chess, Mike or Jeff? Jeff, I'll let you answer this because I know you'll tell the truth.
I'm pretty sure I would win, but I'd have to know, like, how much chess have you played in your life, Mike?
A little bit. I guess I just assumed you played barely any chess.
No, I've played... I've played quite a bit of chess, not recently, but last time I played, it was in a bar and I won. So I think I would probably win.
Well, this could be easily done.
Something we could settle. Okay.
You know what? We could, Jeff. Me and you should have a chess. No practicing. Me and you will have a blind run chess match
Okay.
online for the podcast producers sometime. How about that?
That sounds fantastic. Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I had a friend actually I would do this with quite a bit. He'd play chess with me. He usually beat me. He's pretty good. He's a classics professor, so he has to be
one
good
of
at
those
chess, right?
guys. All right, fair enough.
Now, granted, you could say I play video games for a living, but it's different. So El Grug was trying to guess what your holes are for. He asks, he says the holes are for copies of Bubsy 3D that Jeff buys and disposes of for the betterment of humanity. Is that correct, Jeff?
It's a good guess, but no, that's not right. I'll never tell. Sorry, I'm gonna say that every time someone asks now.
Reservoir Dogs with a very generous super chat says, "Buy Jeff and Jason a beer sometime." Yes, we'll find a way.
Absolutely.
Guys to get, and then James Payne, same thing, says double those beers. Thank you guys.
Thanks,
supporting
thanks,
them.
Doug and James. Thank you.
By supporting us. Well, we'll make it work. Propaganda Panda says, thanks for keeping it real, Jeff and Mike. Even if Mike is wrong about Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. You're so nice, I won't even explain why you're wrong about Yoshi's Island being a core Mario game. That's okay.
Wow, that's very, very big of you.
I know, I'm a big person. Wait. JR88 says, with Xbox at a crossroads, are too many people entrenched in their ecosystems, like PlayStation, Steam, etc., for them to regain a 360-like market share?
I don't know.
Even the 360 like market share was great in the US, but worldwide that wasn't basically kind of like what we have now, huh?
Right, yes. I mean, definitely. But it's like even the United States could it do I think it probably could if it was like so much better and then Sony had a few major fumbles, but it's it could, what it could do is it could continue growing along with the pie, and as the pie gets bigger, it can get bigger, and that would be probably good enough for Microsoft in a lot of ways.
Pudgy Nippies, which that's a very funny name, says,
like
haven't checked in a while, but is there a Patreon tier that offers an ad-free version of the show? Love the show.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't put that in the rundown when I explain the benefits. Yeah, every tier of the Patreon gets you an ad-free version of the show. There's a special link you can click that gets you your own feed, and it's really convenient. It's like just one click, and you're good to go. I also post just a raw MP3 without any ads in the podcast producers channel every week for both Last of the Nintendogs and Game Mess Decides.
Sam Young says, crappy day / week, so thought I'd send something. Thanks for everything you guys that you do and for all the great content. Thank you so much, Sam.
Thanks,
we really
Sam.
do appreciate the nice words and just the support, everybody. It's really nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Darachi here says, hey guys, long-time listener, first-time super chatter. Time to stop messing around. Sub to you guys on Patreon. Rock on. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Darachi.
Yeah, it's always nice. Jeff, someday if things ever really go south, we sure are going to need that Patreon, huh?
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Steph about it. She's like, well, what would you do? I'm like, I think we just have to commit to the Patreon and go hard on Game Mess. And I'm like, we can make it work. We can make it work.
If we ever had to. Not yet, but,
we have to.
B. Traven says, it's dry January for me, but have a beer on me. Thank you.
Thanks, Traven.
That's a good time to do it, because I know after all the merry-making December, I usually am a little bit like, all right, like, let's calm down now. But yes, thank you very much, Traven. Benji Zhao says, hey guys, Bloomberg is reporting that Nintendo is looking to increase Switch production next fiscal year. Does this mean no Switch 2 until 2024? Did you see this, Jeff? Because I was hearing about this.
I actually didn't see it. No.
Bloomberg is saying they're increasing Switch production. Right? They're going to be playing that system for 2 more years or something, aren't we?
Like Nintendo doesn't need to do anything, right? Nintendo can get away with a lot. So,
and I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody, even Kind of Funny or our own community who put Scarlet and Violet in their top 10 games of the year. But if you get away with that, it's like, what do you have to do? And then it sells. More importantly, to be clear, it sells a zillion copies, right?
Yep.
And maybe they took it as validation, like, well, people don't care if the games run too poorly. We should probably do better than that, and we can if we, do this and that and that. I don't think they announced a Switch 2 this year. I just don't know now, right? Maybe they don't.
Yeah, maybe they don't. Maybe.
Plain Shane says it's obvious that Microsoft is the problem, not the devs. Microsoft needs to look in the mirror and realize they are the common denominator of studios not delivering once bought. Bad direction from the top. Yeah, they all have one thing in common, don't they?
I mean, Obsidian's delivered since bought. There are examples of some of these studios doing fine, but at this point, I'm wondering, are they the exceptions that prove the rule? Are they the ones that are somehow escaping the issues that Microsoft is laying down upon these other studios. And right now I'm leaning towards, that's exactly what's happening.
Nintendo says, chances that some government person somewhere will see these layoffs and change their mind and not allow the Activision purchase to go through. Yeah, could this impact the acquisition on like that level?
It's possible because like the people that approve these deals are humans, and every little headline could affect them. But there's nothing about laying off employees that would directly fall under the mandates of most of these regulatory bodies. The bigger thing for them, and I think this is something Microsoft's very much going to point to, is look at that MPD that we just got. There are 20 games in the top 20 there. Not a single one was made by Microsoft. There are multiple. There's 3 from Sony, 6 from Nintendo. We are trying to compete more by buying these, and when we do, we will have an equivalent number to these other companies, because look at, there's like 2-3 Activision games on there. That's as much as Sony, half as much as Nintendo. So I think like right now their position's still pretty strong, but I think like in Europe, like they see like, oh, you acquired this Bethesda and you laid some people off there. Is that going to be your plan for Activision? Microsoft could say no, they're not going to be believed, and that could still hurt them, I think.
Then Jay Campa here says, who would win in a game of chess 2? It's on Steam. I did hear about chess 2.
There's a game on Steam called 5D Chess where like it involves time travel, and I haven't. I've always meant to play it, but I want to it scares me.
Is that like 3D chess from Star Trek?
It's like even more complicated because it's like you could make a move, and then you could go back in time and do another move, but then that creates like a branching path, and then now you're playing like both games or something like that. I honestly need to figure out how to play it.
Now I'm just thinking about all the bullshit Star Trek games, because there's 3D chess, and I think the people, like the Star Trek fans, invented rules that kind of work for it, even though it's nonsense.
Hell yeah, that rules.
There's that episode of Next Generation where Data and some alien are playing some game where they have like caps on their fingers, and they're just moving their fingers the whole time.
Yep, it rules.
And then there's like a Voyager game where they just kept moving like sticks out of a ball. It looked like a game I had as a kid, but but the Vulcans liked it or something. And then we got one more here from Eravon. Eravon1 says, already said Jess Bunny, looking at myself and making sure the content creators I appreciate most feel valued. Thank you so much. I'm feeling very valued right now. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Eravon. That rules. I really appreciate that.
All right, that's it for Super Chats for now, guys. If you want to send more in, we will read them before the end of the show. Thank you all so much for your generosity this week.
All right, Mike, let's do this. Last week sometime, I don't remember, I put together this list. I don't even know if it's exactly finalized how I would want, so maybe we can make changes, but I have a list that I made of the games that I think will be the top 10 in terms of like Game of the Year, Metacritic scores at the end of this year.
Okay, interesting.
I am going to start here with number 1, because I think that's going to be the easiest to follow for audio listeners. So let's just start with
this.
Number 1, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, followed by number 2, Starfield. Right away.
Wow.
Does that feel right?
I have some reservations about both of them. With Zelda, the worry is just, you're coming from being this launch game for the system when a lot of people could forgive a lot of things because it's just so neat that we have this on a portable, to now we're in, we're really deep in this thing. Some people are feeling bad about the performance of a few Switch games recently. Other ones have done fine, like Xenoblade, but still, it's just been a longer wait than expected. What if this comes out and really does just feel like Breath of the Wild 0.5, right? Now, granted, it's Zelda. You shouldn't discount it. There's still a very good chance it can come out and be the coolest thing ever. But I have some reservations, but it still is very possible it could be number 1.
Starfield, right? That's one where it's like either it's going to hit big or there's major problems, right? That's how it feels. And I'm like, I want to have confidence. I want to believe. But I could be talked into moving this down the list very easily, Mike.
It's hard to, again, because you feel like they really got to come out hard for this. But Bethesda's been, there were a lot of people, myself included, who feel like, man, Fallout 4, I played through that and liked it. And then the more and more you think about it, the more you feel like it was kind of a bad thing that happened. The dumbing down there, the simplifying of all these systems, like getting rid of a lot of the emergent stuff, and maybe some of the more interesting story elements that make Fallout what it is. That Fallout 76 was its own thing, and maybe it's good now. I don't know. But the Fallout 4 thing is maybe more concerning there. Yeah, I mean, again, there's so many reasons why it should be the biggest thing ever. Because if you look past Fallout 4, then you have Skyrim, and what a big deal that was. And this team had so much time to work on this. They have Microsoft support now to make sure it's as good as it can be. They've had a lot of big delays, and you're like, okay, wow, maybe that meant that they were able to work on it more. Granted, Halo Infinite also had a lot of delays. So I have some faith in Starfield, but again, I'm a little worried.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is Starfield's going to come out and be probably okay for the most part. There are going to be some serious issues that hold it back right away, and then in 10 years, it really will still be a game that everyone's still playing in the same way Skyrim was. So I think it's probably going to, in the long run, prove to be a very beloved game from this year. But maybe it actually ends up moving down this list right now for our Game of the Year predictions for Metacritic scores. All right, number 3, I have Street Fighter 6, and I feel really good about that one, Mike. I think that's going to be a huge success right out of the gate.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think Street Fighter 6 is really primed to be a giant deal for fighting games. The only thing that's going to hurt is it's going to get so much hype. A lot of people are going to maybe just jump in, even if they aren't fighting game fans, and maybe be like, "Wait, why did I do this? I don't like fighting games." And they're going to get frustrated, or I don't know. But I don't. Yeah, this seems like it's going to be a big hit. The beta tests have gone very well. It looks like they're putting in a lot of cool content in this one, and it should have decent post launch support, right? So, yeah, I think I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Uh, then Star Wars Jedi Survivor at number 4, and Final Fantasy 16 at 5, and Marvel Spider-Man 2 at 6. I feel like there's a chance that any of these could be mixed up. Maybe if Final Fantasy 16 is as good and really delivers, I think it's going to be very highly rated. But it's like, I just don't know, because the recent Final Fantasies have been, well, I guess Final Fantasy 7 Remake was that high, right? It was like really well.
Final Fantasy Remake ruled.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't the 15 team. The 15 team made Forspoken.
Right. Yes, exactly. So this is not the 15. The problem, the last one that
these are the
didn't do
people
was
who
good.
made these are the people who made Final Fantasy 14 good.
Yeah.
Who made it great. And I don't know. You know me, I have very high expectations for 16. I would put it above Jedi Survivor, because Jedi Survivor is gonna be great, but it is gonna have a bit of that God of War Ragnarok problem. Now, granted, a lot of people thought God of War Ragnarok was amazing, but a lot of people are like, okay, yeah, we did that again, and it's even better, maybe. But I don't know.
Yeah, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is not going to like rank as high as even God of War Ragnarok did. It'll be like pretty equivalent with its last game, which was like high 80s. I think. I guess I could probably open up Metacritic and check on these as we go through. But
I mean, again, I'm being optimistic. I could put 16 all the way at top myself. But then that's my expectations. Maybe getting out of whack. Maybe putting it above Zelda is crazy. But I would put it above Starfield. But I understand if you don't want to put it that high.
I think
maybe even above Street Fighter.
Yeah,
I can understand you wouldn't want to put it above Street Fighter. I mean,
I'm going to start moving things around. So I got I'm going to keep Zelda at the top, then Street Fighter 6, then I might actually move up Final Fantasy 16, and then Starfield behind that, because I think Starfield is actually going to end up being high 80s. I think it's going to get an 89. I think Final Fantasy 16 is going to get like a 90, 91.
Let's go.
I think Street Fighter 6 is going to like just crush, and I think it's going to get like a 92.
My expectations actually are at a point where, like, if it doesn't get a 90, I'm going to, like, or higher, I might be a little disappointed. Because like you said, it has feel like we had to kind of like eat like 15. We were just kind of happy it came out and it was good enough, because that was such a weird development thing. And then the 13 games were what they were, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 7 Remake was awesome, but for the main numbered Final Fantasies, it's like, come on, let's have one just come out and be awesome. So yeah, that's what we're getting here.
All right, then. So right now we have then Zelda, Street Fighter 6, Final Fantasy 16, Starfield. So now how do we feel about Star Wars Jedi Survivor, then Spider-Man 2? Because I think the first Spider-Man was, I love it. It's like my favorite Sony game from that year. But even then, it was never as highly rated as the other Sony exclusives from that year. It was just like, no, this is a really good game. The swinging's great, and Spider-Man's awesome. But I don't think it it didn't get very many Game of the Year awards.
Maybe not, but I still feel like it's better liked now than it was.
And you think that'll carry it forward, right? Like that'll
right.
Like, that's what we'll remember.
And a lot of people played Miles Morales and really liked that, and this is just as much a sequel to that, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there's pretty good hopes. Again, there can be a bit of that Ragnarok problem, and it happens with a lot of these kind of sophomore big PlayStation Studios games. Forbidden West had it too a little bit, where like, okay, we're doing that thing again, but bigger, and that's cool in its own way. I wonder if Spider-Man 2 is going to be able to break out from that at all. There's one game that's not even on this list that I know will probably
we'll
be bigger than Spider-Man 2.
Yes, we'll get to the end of this list and then we'll put that in.
Okay.
I think I probably know what you're thinking of, and then anything else that we missed. Redfall, then after Spider-Man 2, Pikmin 4, and then kind of a kind of like there's a malaise here or whatever, like a little soup at the bottom of like Wild Hearts, Fire Emblem Engage, and Hogwarts Legacy. And I'm like, I just got to put those on there because those are only games I could think of at a certain point. I think we could probably just focus on Redfall and Pikmin 4 being, was that number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So Redfall 7, Pikmin 4 at 8. Both those actually feel pretty good to me.
Pikmin, yes. I think Pikmin will be like at a lot of people's
You're
like
still
lower
that
end of
doubtful
their.
of Redfall.
I'm still pretty doubtful of
Okay.
Redfall.
All right.
I feel like even if a lot of this stuff is true about it being like more emergent, taking these Far Cry 2 vibes, I think that in a way I think Forspoken has a lot more problems than the tone for sure. I still get a whiff of that in Redfall. Everybody's got jokes, and we're already going to have Suicide Squad this year too, doing a similar thing, and it's just going to be really quippy. And it seems like everybody is over it. Everyone's over that kind of games writing, and video games take so long to make that it doesn't matter. Games that were written in that style 3 or 4 years ago are going to be coming out now.
This is from the Prey team over at Arcane.
Prey is a good game. Prey is a good game.
But it got an 84. And that's
got an 84.
That's good. But that's not necessarily even top 10 list material. I suppose it probably is close. 84, like a mid 84 probably gets you in the bottom half of the top 10. I still feel, I think this might be like a breakout for Arcane, or you're right, people could just be sick of it and it falls apart. But I'll move Pikmin 4 up and go from there. And then let's bring in some of those other games. Resident Evil 4 remake.
Yes, that's going to be big. That's going to be
all right,
at least above Jedi Survivor. Like that will be at least 5. I mean, they did when they had to remake Resident Evil 2. They did as good a job as has ever been done on a remake. And you kind of got the sense that like they knew to take care of that one. And then they kind of fumbled the ball with Resident Evil 3 because you can almost kind of tell that they didn't care so much. Resident Evil 4, though, they're going to care big time. And we know what they're capable of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we're already starting off with Resident Evil 4, which is such a good game. I think a lot of people's expectations are just very high for this, and they should be.
Yep.
Like you could almost convince me that you can put this in the top in some ways, and I'd believe you. I don't know if we want to go that high, but it should be high.
Yeah. So right now, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have it at 5. Let's say what did RE2 remake do? Because I think that didn't that crush that like got a really
destroyed.
Resident Evil 2 remake. Yeah, well, that's 1989. How do I get the? You know what? I'll just type in remake and see if that works. Nope.
Yeah.
I'm
on the way.
2000.
I do want to play the original.
When did that come
actually.
out? 2020. Before that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I got like a low 90s on Metacritic. So that's gonna be up there. I would probably be okay because it feels like a safer bet.
a 91 PlayStation 4, 93 Xbox One,
okay.
PC was an 89, so around 90.
Right,
we'll say
that's really high. I think I think Resident Evil 4 is a safer bet than Starfield. And then it kind of becomes a question of is it a safer bet than Final Fantasy 16?
I got to be honest. It's probably a safer bet than Final Fantasy 16.
I think so too, and I'd probably honestly even more so than Street Fighter 6 because
even more than Street Fighter 6. Yeah, it might be 2.
Yeah, I think it's a strong 2 actually because it's like they're not going to mess. They could. Anything could happen, but I really don't think they're going to mess that up. I think that's probably a strong 2.
I'd be very surprised if they mess that one up. Yeah.
Some people want us to put Silk Song on here, Mike. Do you want to risk jinxing it?
Man, I mean, I'm so worried about being the next sports story, Jeff.
I don't think there's any chance that happens.
Why did it take so long? What did they do to this? Did they just try to add a zillion things and get carried away? No, I don't think it happens. And I mean, look, a lot of people really like Hollow Knight, and a lot of those people are going to be reviewing Silk Song, and a lot of people are going to be buying Silk Song. Silk Song should be big. I think if it lives up to what people want, it should be in a lot of people's top 10 lists, more so than like these games we haven't really talked about. They're kind of like on
Right.
here, like a Fire Emblem Engage or a Wild Hearts.
Fire Emblem Engage is like an 82. We know that that's kind of already going to be like right there on the bubble of making a top 10. I think wasn't like Bayonetta 3 got higher
9.
Yeah, higher than that, and it didn't end up on many people's top 10 lists. So, and there was mitigating circumstances there, and I'm sorry to, I know some of our mods who really like Bayonetta, but yeah, let's move that up. So I think we could probably move it up like right here behind Spider-Man. I
think that might be right. Yeah, I think if it hits, it's going to hit harder for more people than Pikmin will.
Okay, so let's take another look at the list. So we got Zelda at the top, number 1. Then Resident Evil 4 Remake at number 2. Street Fighter 6, Final Fantasy 16, Starfield at 5. Then Star Wars Jedi Survivor at 6. Let's see, then Spider-Man 2 at 7. Silksong at 8. Pikmin 4 at 9. And Redfall at 10. I still think that they're like, I personally think Redfall's probably going to hit, but like looking at the list, it's hard to move it up any further.
There's a lot going on. There's still some we need to consider, Jeff, because we haven't talked about Diablo 4 yet.
Ooh, God, yeah. Okay, so Diablo 4. Ooh, I think this is going to actually get kind of difficult now.
It is, but there's a lot of reasons to be like, well, maybe that's not going to hit. Like maybe it'll be a big hit and make a lot of money, but we had Diablo Immortal. That was rough. Diablo 3 launched in a rough space and got good later. Blizzard in general has been kind of weird, but also like been able to do good stuff. Like the last World of Warcraft expansion, very good. Overwatch 2, kind of a weird mess. Diablo Immortal, kind of a weird mess, right? But then at the same time, when you look at Diablo 4, and I played some of it, it's like this seems to be on the right track.
It looks good, yeah.
Looks good.
So I mean, listen, this is your area of expertise. I mean, I've liked the Diablos that I played, but I would like kind of give it over to you.
I would definitely maybe be safer and put it on the bottom if I did.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
I would put it above Redfall, but I feel bad kicking Redfall just because I have no faith in it.
Yeah, Redfall's going to stay on the list.
Then we can put it below Redfall. It doesn't quite make it, maybe.
Okay, I think that's probably right. People want us to mention Armored Core 6. I've said that I don't think it's actually going to come out this year.
It's coming out. Yeah. There's a couple that are iffy, like Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. It's like,
you just want to put it at number 1, just to like really shout in the faces of the people in your fantasy league.
Yeah, that'll really show them. But hey, here's a game that is coming out. I think, right? Mina the Howler, that is coming out this year, right?
Mina the Howler is supposed to come out this year. Yeah.
Yeah, and we saw how many indie games did well in 2022. Now, I almost don't expect as many to do well. Part of the reason that last year there were so few AAA games that those games really did get to shine, and there were a lot of good ones. But Mina the Howler, I do have pretty big expectations for. Although I wonder, like, that's going to hit with like people like me and you a lot, right?
Exactly.
Right. It's going to hit with everybody the same way.
Yeah, it is the kind of game where like the people that will show up for it will be the ones that are like most likely to like it, but still, it's probably more for us than for a wider audience, and probably won't get that 90 Metacritic, that high 80 even. It'll probably be like a strong mid 80 Metacritic.
Yeah. Then like Hades 2 would be early access, so I wouldn't really count that. Alan Wake 2, again, I want it to come out this year, and I want it to be good. I don't know. Alan Wake 1 didn't, like, it became a bit of a cult classic. What do you call when something's a cult classic immediately? Because that's what it was.
A sleeper hit, isn't that what we used to say?
Yeah, there you go. It was like a sleep. So I don't know. I bet Alan Wake 2 is going to do well. I don't know if it's going to be a top 10 for a lot of people. It might be for me. I don't know.
Let's see. We did get some stuff from our community in terms of what they think is going to be their game of the year. I'll just read a handful of these. Let's see. Jeremy Biff says the DLC for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Let's see. Tears of the Kingdom from B. Traven. Will put tears on my face because it will disappoint. Final Fantasy 16 will be game of the year. Ooh, there you go, B. Traven.
Let's do it. Yes, Final Fantasy 16 boys rise up. Grab those crystals.
Nintendo Bro also says Nintendo has to have something so special with Tears of the Kingdom that they would keep it this close to the chest for so long. I mean,
it's just Nintendo. Sometimes they're just Nintendo.
No Zelda game has taken this long though between entries. I kind of agree with them. It better be something.
This is the first Zelda game to come out this year. Like this is how long games take to make now.
Yep. Wazbat says Armored Core 6 actually ends up if Armored Core 6 actually ends up coming out this year, then it'll be that. Otherwise, I expect that it'll be something like Vampire Survivors or Neon White that nobody saw coming at the start of the year. Now,
there will definitely be those, and
yes.
those will be so fun and exciting to kind of watch emerge.
Yes, and that'll be fun to like kind of get a play-by-play of this conversation and look at this list and recognize how many of the games that we thought would come out that don't, or the games that we put on this list that actually turned out to be shit, and then be surprised by all the games we didn't even know today that exist and are coming, and by the end of the year we've fallen in love with. That's the best part. That's always the most fun.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Bayleaf Moon says, I really hope Redfall is in discussion for Game of the Year. With the deep gameplay mechanics of Dishonored mixed with the older Far Cry formula, that game could hit the right receptors of our goopy goblin brains to be Game of the Year.
Goopy.
Yeah, I like it when things hit my receptors.
I like when things are goopy.
Absolutely. That's my brain. My brain's just a bunch of goop. Bizarro
Goopy
Hash.
game mess.
Bizarro Hash has this Spider-Man 2 seems like the safest bet. It feels like Insomniac cut their PS5 teeth on Ratchet and Miles, and now they're ready to go hard on the Spider-Man sequel. I suppose if the story is really good and the interplay between Miles and Peter is really good, and they really shore up that open world experience so that there's a lot of interesting stuff to do in New York, that it really could just surprise us by how well it does. I mean, it's easily my most anticipated Sony game in a long time, Spider-Man 2. But still, it's just something about it. It's like those games, even Miles Morales, which is like even more beloved than Spider-Man 2018, it seems like. Even that wasn't getting a ton of Game of the Year love for like the number one spot, although it was on a lot of lists. So
no, you're right.
Yeah, and I don't know what that is. I think it's just that people like, no, I love swinging around, but at the end of the day, this is just another video game because I'm just going around the map doing stuff on a map. I think people sort of like don't want to put that in that top echelon for some reason.
Like Jad in the Hat here saying, crossing out Skull and Bones is sailing in to sweep the awards, but that does make me think. Is that new Assassin's Creed this year? What is that even called?
Mirage.
One set in Baghdad, Mirage. I wonder if like that's going to get a nice boost because it is this return to form,
I think it'll get something like that. I bet
maybe
like
not top 10 though.
Yeah, and maybe if it doesn't even do as well as the recent RPG ones, because that's maybe like we want the old Assassin's Creed thing is the kind of thing we say and don't actually mean. At least I think that's probably going to be true for a certain segment of the audience. Snufkin says, unless Starfield blows me completely away, I can't see Zelda not being my Game of the Year. Silksong is bound to get some Game of the Year awards from outlets, though, if it delivers even 50% of the hype and expectations.
I kind of want to play Hollow Knight again. Hollow Knight was actually just very, very good. And I'm like, it's like, I know some people don't like it. I'm not trying to like go on that like joke thing anymore. I actually do just really like that game, and every time I think about it, it makes me happy.
I'm glad. I'm happy for you, Mike.
Yeah.
Lenny Cool Dick Denver says, I'm on Team Tears of the Kingdom for obvious reasons, or for the reasons above. I'm assuming the nominations will be Tears of the Kingdom, Starfield, Spider-Man 2, and Hellblade, I guess, is one that we can maybe throw up on there. But I don't think it's going to, well...
So I'm not sure if it won. Maybe it comes out this year. I don't know. I'm pretty skeptical of Hellblade also. Hellblade 1 was not some... giant hit. It got a lot of attention from certain people because of its storytelling stuff. It didn't do much for me and you, Jeff. I thought it was kind of boring.
It's boring.
So I don't know if just throwing a lot more money at that and making it bigger suddenly makes Hellblade better for me.
I'm looking at One Up versus CPU. It's got a lot of good ones. AEW Fight Forever.
I mean, that'd be great. I hope, but I'm not. I bet I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah,
I don't know if
that's what One Up versus CPU says. That could be my most played game of the year. They don't have to do a whole lot to please me here. Just make it as fun to play as a 23-year-old N64 game, and let me make Rey Mysterio and Jushin Thunder Liger.
Liger.
Yeah. No, I'm probably saying that first word wrong though, but Liger.
Jushin Thunder Liger.
Okay. He mentions Vengeful Guardian Moonrider, which, have you seen this, Mike? It's like a new 2D action game. It looks pretty cool.
He's what? Wait, Shinobi 3 cross Mega Man X? What?
Yes, I think you would. That's why I was like, Mike, have you seen this? I think you would really like this game.
Oh my god, you know how everyone knows
parts
I like
of it that just straight up look like Mega Man X, and like that, like
Mega Man X vibes.
Mega Man X vibes of the year, Mike. I think so.
Let's go.
Then he says,
yeah.
Then he says Metroid Prime 4. Obviously, Nintendo canceled Metroid Prime Remake because they didn't want to release two Metroid games too close together. So Metroid Prime 4 will be in the running. Very funny. Bloodstained Classic Mode 2, the new Star Wars reality TV series, Jedi Survivor, sounds like a good reason to resub to Disney+. Pikmin 4 with Pikmin Bloom connectivity could be amazing. That actually is not a joke, 1UP versus View. I would totally like that. I love Pikmin Bloom. And then Grim Guardians Demon Purge is something I'm keeping an eye on. It looks like Inti Creates is making another Bloodstained Circle of the Moon without Bloodstained.
Cool, man. Those Castlevania style games that they made were super cool.
Yeah, well, it wasn't Circle of the Moon. What is this? COTM.
Oh gosh, yeah. Curse of the Moon was just Curse of the Moon.
Curse of the Moon sounds right. That sounds right. Dr. Seth says the Keeley Game of the Award will be Starfield. The Game Mess Game of the Year will be something random as fuck. My Game of the Year will be Tears of the Kingdom, and Indie Game of the Year will be Silk Song. That's pretty good.
Has anybody else brought up Sea of Stars from the Messenger folks? Like I'm always so skeptical of these indie teams trying to make their own JRPG. Sea of Stars.
No one mentioned it.
Nah, we'll see. I'm not that confident, I guess, but I'm being hopeful. We'll see.
Let's see. We got a couple of mentions of Resident Evil there. So it says if it isn't Resident Evil 4, Silent Hill 2, Alan Wake 2, I will be bummed. This is the year of survival horror. Damn it. I'm pulling for you there.
It's kind of the year of survival horror for me, Jeff. I thought I was a coward forever, and then first we did Alan Wake last year, and I was like, oh, I guess I like Alan Wake. That's just an oddity. Then we played Resident 1. I'm like, I love this. I'm probably going to play through the Resident Evil series this year now. I don't know what happened. Oh, you know what I really want to do is I want to play Blue Stinger for the Dreamcast. Yes, I think I've been saying this already. I want it so bad. I want it more bad than I've ever wanted anything.
Yes, I love it. Let's see. Pseudo Garrido has a lot of the ones that have been mentioned: Zelda, Starfield, Final Fantasy, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake. Just because I want to say it. Gigantes says their nominees as Zelda. Is that
related to Cervantes, the pirate?
Exactly. The pirate. The winner will be Final Fantasy 16. All right.
Yeah, good Final Fantasy 16, boys.
Okay.
And girls. And my non-binary pals, everybody loves Final Fantasy 16. Jeff, let's go.
Big with the furries as well. Okay. A lot of people saying Breath of the Wild. A lot of people saying Starfield, Resident Evil 4, Armored Core even.
Final Fantasy. Armored Core did get a lot, and I'm very skeptical that comes out. I hope.
If it does come out, I think there's a strong chance it will just capture everybody and stuff and kind of take over in the same way that a lot of From games have recently.
Capture. Wait. Oh my God, Jeff, are you trying to hint at Mario Odyssey 2 coming out this year and actually being the real game of the year?
I was trying to hint that Armored Core 6 is actually going to be a Pokemon game, and you're going to be capturing little mechs.
I'm so bad at picking up on these things.
Yeah, I know. This is I got to get a new co-host. Absolutely.
Is it just going to be you looking the other way?
Yes, exactly.
You're going to get your own side host.
Side host, yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, he's probably live still, right?
I thought he wasn't going today, Jeff. I think.
Did he decide not to go? Right. Yes. Okay.
They're doing that later, but again, Voidburger's on Twitch.
Yes. Go check out Voidburger. That's right. Okay. So check it back in on the list. Legend of Zelda at number 1. Resident Evil 4 Remake at number 2. Street Fighter 6 number 3. Then Final Fantasy 16, Starfield, Jedi Survivor, Spider-Man 2, Silk Song, Pikmin 4, and Redfall with Diablo 4 right there on the bubble. This looks right.
Pretty right.
Yeah, it's as close as I feel like we're going to get right now. I think if we really sat down and looked at how these series track out in terms of Metacritic before, that maybe we'd be a little bit closer. But that's not right. That's cheating to use data. Let's just go with our gut, and our gut says that this is right.
So to be clear, neither of us have much faith in Suicide Squad, huh?
Yeah, I just really don't know if I don't know. You talk about that tone of Redfall. I think the tone of Suicide Squad is just toxic. It's just absolutely just so off-putting. I don't want to say repulsive because I feels like that. Even toxic sounds like judgmental. It just is off-putting. I don't like the way it makes me feel when I'm looking at that game. But
it's gonna be you're gonna cut off the Flash's dick or something. It'll be funny.
Matthew Allard is probably right here about Company of Heroes 3. That's actually going to be probably one of the top 5 games of the year.
Right. I mean, that's just kind of not my thing, so I'm not thinking about it. You're right. It's hard for me to really judge that.
Yeah, no one took it in the draft of our fantasy league, and that was just incorrect. I should have taken it.
I know it was his finger and not his dick. Let me have it. It's funnier if it's his penis, okay?
All right, Mike. I think we got a few more super chats. Why don't we read those, and then I'll ask you what games you've been playing.
what about our game of the Hall of Fame? Or what about the Hall of Fame?
Oh yeah, we got that. Let's. Should we do that first in the super chats? Let me.
Let's do that first. I always like seeing. I'm excited because I don't know because we picked Genesis games this time to make Jeff say nice things about his least favorite console.
Oh man, I hope this vote is you. All right, so Mike's right. Last week we picked a collection of Genesis games. Actually, Mike chose mine because he knew which ones mine were, and he was right. But let's go. The choices were Shinobi 3, Gunstar Heroes, Streets of Rage 2, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And now I'm realizing that he just did this so that he could get one of his games on here. All right, the bottom result with one vote, Shinobi 3.
Yeah, I thought I'm not too surprised, but I don't even know if I'm disappointed. But I want to beg you guys. It's on NSO. It's on the Genesis thing. Play Shinobi 3.
Yes,
it is a fantastic.
It does rule.
16-bit action platformer, super fun. Use the rewind. Use the save states. You're gonna have such a good time. It has amazing set pieces, man. There's like a level where you're riding on the horse. There's the one where you're surfing. That game is just cool. And I also had not really played it before, really until a couple years ago. It rules. And when you like look at like the Sega people, they all like acknowledge it, right? Roman Reigns style. It's very good. Check out Shinobi 3, please.
Coming up in third, so not making the cut, with 17% of the votes, Gunstar Heroes.
Oh, wow, man.
Same thing that everything Mike just said. Go play Gunstar Heroes, because that's the only reasonable explanation for this. You've not played it.
We were talking about Jeff, I actually that night played through it again. Yep. It's just so good.
One of the most playable games ever. It's like, I mean, if you've ever heard anyone talk glowingly about a Treasure game, and Treasure, oh man, they made the best shooters. They made the best action games. This is the one you need to play.
It's their best one.
It's their best game, and it's the best game on the Genesis. It's so good.
It might be.
But then that means making the list here, number 2 with 38% of the vote, Streets of Rage 2. Streets of Rage 2 will indeed make the cut. I'm going to add it to this right here. Streets of Rage 2.
Maybe actually my favorite Genesis game. Streets of Rage 2, just fantastic. I like beat 'em ups a good lot more than maybe the average person, and this might still probably is the best one. And it's nuts because all the other really good ones these days are a lot of them have come out recently, and they're like, oh, we could make this more interesting now than it used to be. And Streets of Rage 2 already had that figured out on the Genesis. Just so much style to it too, but the mechanics are just deep enough that it's not a button masher at all. You have these characters that all play very differently. You have these really cool stages. That baseball stadium, then you go down the elevator. God, I love that. And just one of the best soundtracks ever, definitely. It rules, and it's great by yourself or co-op. By co-op, it's one of the best co-op games ever.
And that means that the number 1 vote getter for this week's Game Mesticides Hall of Fame is Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with 43% of the vote. And you know what, Mike, it's a good game. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is a good game. Yes. I'm a little surprised. I thought that maybe people were going to vote against it just for the memes.
Yeah. But yeah, Sonic 2. I know, like, I get some crap because I'm like, maybe Sonic 1's better, but also maybe it's not. Maybe Sonic 2 is actually just the best. It has some really awesome levels like Chemical Plant Zone, right? That place just absolutely rules. Tails is like one of the first great examples of little brother mode, and it's or little sibling mode, and it just works really well. Really cool end game stuff too when you go up on the Robotnik ship and you have that big fight and he's in that giant robot, right? They brought it back for the movie, and I was, did the Leonardo DiCaprio point kind of thing.
Yes, totally. Yes.
Yeah, I think this was the epitome of 2D Sonic until Sonic Mania.
I agree. And it's fun. It was and it does everything it says on the box. It's bright and colorful, more colorful than anything you get on the Super Nintendo, and it's faster than anything you get on the Super Nintendo. And it really just goes. And the music is such a standout to this day. It is absolutely just banger after banger track.
Just say nice things about Sonic. I feel faint.
Hey, Sonic has been good. Not as good as Gunstar Heroes, but very good.
Yeah, I'll be honest. There's part of me, some was like, maybe I'm happy, but also, damn it, Gunstar Heroes, Shinobi.
These kids just haven't played, right? These kids just don't know. So people that don't know, the way me and Mike nominate, but then the podcast producers actually vote and decide which games are going to make it in. And that brings us to, these are the games in the Game Mesticides Hall of Fame so far from previous week's votes. Super Mario Brothers, Super Metroid, Street Fighter 2, Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, F-Zero GX, Undertale, Shovel Knight, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Streets of Rage 2, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now, many of these, maybe you could tell, we had weeks. We began doing weeks where we had themes. So we did like Metroidvanias and indie games, things like that, racers. And now we've done Sega games. Mike, we will do another one soon. We'll probably pick that here in the next couple of days. But I think here, now we're at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games. Might start spacing them out a little bit or giving a little bit more time to vote. So as more podcast producers come in, they get a little bit more time to decide what they're going to vote on, or maybe even play some of the games a little bit. But yeah, we'll start spacing these out a little bit, maybe doing it every couple of weeks here going forward. But yeah, we'll pick 4 more games here very soon and put up the vote in the podcast producers channel.
Sounds good. Hey, have you played Contra Hardcore for Genesis? Because that's
a little bit.
Good run.
I need to play more of it. I need to really sit down and go to town at it.
It's also very good. I like it more than Contra 3 on SNES, actually.
Yep. Sean's gonna clip me saying nice things about Sonic. Wonderful.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Now you're gonna get canceled. Oh, you're who Phil Spencer's talking about.
The culture of cancellation has come for Jeff Grubb. I should have listened to him. Mike, we had some super chats.
We did have more super chats.
Let's go ahead and read some of those.
All right. This one's from El Grug, who says, again, El Grug? He says, you ever watch the movie The Prestige? Because the holes are for dead clones of Jeff. Yes. I had an awful panic attack right at the end. This was back when I was getting panic attacks, so I missed the twist, but I did see The Prestige.
Yeah, but it's just like that movie. Like, all the evidence is right in front of you. You just don't want to know the answer. You want to be fooled. So no, that's still not right. Although
King is
very close.
Sorry, Jeff.
It's very, very close.
King is overrated. Asks, at FromSoft, if the Armored Core team and the Souls team are separated, what is the Soul teams working on besides DLC? Any ports?
I mean, what would you work on if you were them?
Yeah, right. There's got to be some. I don't know how extensive yet. Maybe a lot of the main team is still making DLC. Somebody at FromSoft is working on Elder Scrolls 2.
Elden Ring 2, yes.
Elder Scrolls, whatever the hell it's called. Elder
Yes.
Ring 2. Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, they're going to make Elden Ring 2. I mean, there is so much money in them hills. Think about how good Elden Ring did. And that's like slowly over time. Obviously, it was a major hit, but it's built up so much. It was the most talked about game. They put out a second one. The anticipation for that will be even bigger than for the first one. It is going to be a massive platinum hit immediately. It's a no-brainer. They're going to work on Elden Ring 2.
It'd be the game that if people still went to stores, you would have got the news crews filming the line, stuff like that.
Yes.
Shiamiro here says, I'll finally jump on the Patreon after today. Thank you for all the hard work you both do and for having swing shift friendly streams for guys like me. Thank you so much, Shia. I really, 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 really appreciate it.
Yeah, shout out to our swing shifters out there. Absolutely.
King is overrated says, no other co-host. If Mike leaves, we riot. So yeah, take that, Jeff. You're going to become the next
That's
France.
just not true. Whenever I have another Minotti on, you guys are so excited. You like him way better than Mike.
They're just being nice to AJ.
Yeah.
You like him way better than Mike. That's just not true. Shiamiro back here says, I forgot my pick. I'm going to love Zelda, but if Final Fantasy 16 does epic high fantasy right, it might steal the top spot. Yes, let's go. Oh, and from Burrito right now, I didn't roll my R's there. Mike, as a avid reader of Spanish language literature and haver of long hair, every time you say Cervantes like the pirate, my soul dies a little faster.
I gotta tell you, Burrito, I think that might be the point. He's trying to kill us. He's just trying to kill us.
Is Cervantes the Three Musketeers guy, or is that somebody else? What did he do?
That's Alexander Dumas.
Ah, dumbass.
Yeah. Alexander Dumbass wrote the Three Musketeers. That's right. He also invented the candy bar, Mike. There you go. You happy?
Whoa. I'm sorry I didn't know his name then. He's a hero.
You love nougat. Yeah, absolutely love nougat.
I do, actually. Yeah, nougat's pretty
Nougat's
cool.
good. Absolutely.
Nougat should be in other foods aside from candy. I don't know what I mean by that. We should start stuffing pasta shells with nougat.
Yes, Cervantes wrote Don Quixote. That's right. Yes.
Oh, I should know. Yeah.
He also called you a Philistine.
Don Quixote, the Lord de la
cool.
Mancha, I follow wherever it goes.
I
Yeah.
love this. This is wonderful.
Yeah, that was an episode of Quantum Leap where Sam jumps into like the understudy for Don Quixote in that musical. That's a very good episode.
Have TV. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I have TV, Mike. Did you know this about me? I have TV.
Cool.
Quantum Leap came on, and I started watching. And then I hit the button on my YouTube TV to like subscribe to it. So now I watch it every once in a while. I love Quantum Leap. There's a new Quantum Leap show. Have you seen that?
Of course there is. I mean, wait, did it actually come out?
It's out. Yeah, totally.
That's messed up, man. There's a time in my life where it would have seemed like a big deal.
It would have been the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah, but
and
now
it's just another
everything
network
comes back.
television show. Yeah, it's
everything comes back. Frasier's coming back.
It looks just
like Picard's back.
It looks like NCIS. It looks like CSI. It looks like any one of those shows.
I hope that they happen just so that they like just end it with a happy ending. Just get Sam back. It was kind of weird how that show ended.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't know. Like Quantum Leap, so much of what makes that good is the 80s-ness of it or whatever, right? I don't know if you could really just make Quantum Leap
and this feels completely stripped of any sort of thing like that. This just feels.
Yeah.
I don't know. They should almost shot it like a period piece. Made it like 80s again. That would have been way better than what they're doing. Maybe it's fine for like a new audience, but for me, I'm not.
I don't know. I just haven't heard anybody talk about it. So I don't know if it's. I can't imagine it's that good then.
I'm always surprised by like which shows like Magnum PI came back, and that's apparently doing very well. I think.
Right. Well, because that's on network TV, and
so is the Quantum Leap show. So it's like, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, but that's not a cop show.
Right.
Like
you're right.
Any show about authority does very well.
That's
on
true,
TV.
man.
Their audience
you don't watch your football
70.
and you just like want to watch a cop bust some bad doers.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Nathan Fillion used to be like a geek superhero, right? It's just been on a cop show for like 7 years now.
Yeah, I think longer than that even. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's. And before that, he had a different show, Castle, right?
Yeah.
It's weird how he had the successful network TV career.
Yeah, and he did for like 2 decades now. So yeah.
Right. He was on Firefly for 1 season, and then everybody liked it so much that every main character in anything just became that character.
Right, just became Nathan Fillion in Firefly. Yeah.
Right. Now we're to the point. Now we're all sick of it.
Mike, what have you been playing?
Well, I talked about the Resident Evil. Again, I love the remake. Then I went back to the PlayStation 1 version, and I was like, well, this is also good. I thought I was just going to play it for a second just to see like the difference of it, and then I just ended up playing that whole thing. The take controls didn't bother me. I really love the PlayStation 1-ness of it.
Yeah.
And look, I was using RetroArch to play it, and I'm like, well, now that I have this set up, I am really in a PlayStation 1 mood. So I've been playing a lot of PlayStation 1 games on stream. I did a circuit of Ridge Racer Type 4, which is just one of my favorite games. That was fun. Played a little Pandemonium, which we've been talking about lately, which is the most 2.5D game ever. But I've been going deep in Mega Man Legends. I love Mega Man. I've talked before. I never actually beat this one, so I am now going through it, making a lot of really good progress and having a lot of fun with a game that, by the way, still looks great. It really is like making a Studio Ghibli movie, but it's on PlayStation and Mega Man's there. That's what it looks like.
That's incredible.
The way that they animate the faces, the way the colors pop.
It's like an Tron always reminded me of that same sort of vibe. I guess that must be.
Well, she's an air pirate when that's like the most Ghibli thing ever, right? Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just never like actually spoke the link out loud. I just like had that vibe in my brain the entire time. Huh.
I was the same way, Jeff. It wasn't until somebody said in a chat. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, that's exactly what this is, just Castle in the Sky. Yes, I get it now. It rules.
So are you you're going to keep going? You're going to play Tron Bun, or are you going to keep playing those now? Or are you sticking with PS1 games? What are you doing?
Maybe I'll do a little break because I've got some other things loaded up here. I've talked before, I think, how I like Jumping Flash 2 a lot, but also never really beat it. So I might do that in between. And also, so I think I mentioned before this YouTube channel, Sean Shonson, SEAN space SEANSON. He makes all these PlayStation 1 videos.
Right.
I just watched a video about some very underrated Looney Tunes game where you play as not Wile E. Coyote, but a wolf who looks like him, and you try to capture sheep. And apparently it's like this 3D puzzle platformer.
Is it,
and that
is
was
it
real
in the
good.
Looney Tunes universe, or is it just a different
Yeah.
sheep? Or, okay.
No, it's Looney Tunes. Like Daffy Duck's the narrator.
There's Wile E. Coyote, and there's the other one that looks exactly like
Yeah,
him.
Ralph or something like that.
Yeah, there was always two, and that freaked me out when I found that out. That was so weird.
Yeah, he has a red nose.
But he like talks. The other one talks. Like Wile E. Coyote doesn't talk. The other one does
the
talk.
whole bit is like there's the sheepdog and like this wolf.
Yeah, the sheepdog.
And then at the end of the cartoons, they like clock out like, oh, okay, this is just our job. And then they're buddies at the end of it. And there's a whole game based off of those, and apparently it's good, and that blows my mind. So I have to play it.
Yeah, I always saw that game, and I was like, weird, the Wile E. Coyote game, and now I'm like realizing, no, it was never Wile E. Coyote.
It's called Sheepdog Wolf in the UK, and it has a different worse name in the US. So yes, I'm gonna try that again. I'm just PlayStation 1 vibes right now, man.
It's a good
I'm loving it. It is. That's what I'm realizing. That is. I talked about this before PlayStation 2, how I resented that console because I liked the Dreamcast so much. So it took me a while to kind of forgive it. I'm kind of the same thing with the PlayStation 1, just in terms of like I liked the Saturn a lot because I was just a big Sega fanboy for a while. But now I can just be chill and be like, yeah, this is very very good. But there's some I'll play like some of the old Tomb Raider games. There's just a lot of stuff. Fear Effect, never played that. What's that about? I don't know. Maybe I'll find out. Parasite Eve, and of course some more of these old.
Was Fear Effect the one with the lesbians?
Yes, it was exactly. That's all anyone knows.
It's all anyone knows.
I'm like, well, they had to make a whole game. It can't just only be talking about how there's lesbians in it. Like I understand that's the marketing.
The marketing was all that, yeah.
Right. And I watched a video by Sean Johnson, and it's cool because it's not pre-rendered like images, it's pre-rendered videos everywhere. So it has a really cool look to it.
Ooh, that does sound
That's
very
all
cool.
The backgrounds, pre-rendered.
Okay.
Like Final Fantasy VII would do that sometimes. The Final Fantasy games where all of a sudden the background would be a pre-rendered video and it'd be neat. This is just that the whole time.
That sounds good.
You're trying to find out how young or older audience are. You ask them, have you watched any significant amount of Looney Tunes?
Yeah, because like I watched a ton when I was a kid, but I'm just wondering if that was like still the case for young people today. Like Nick Turbo, like when you were a kid, was like Looney Tunes just on TV. And Sean, I mean, Sean's like really young too, right? So like,
I mean, when we grew up, it was just on all of like it was on like all the cable channels, like TNT or TBS, just randomly. Then Nickelodeon just started running it like right after school let out. Like that was just they had a block of Looney Tunes.
Yep,
it was like they're one of their main things. So yeah, I think about that a lot with these things. Like we watched a lot of things that were old because they've just put them on still.
That's what they had. It was like cable was still relatively young, if you think about it, like cable TV. And like they just needed content to fill all these extra channels. And it's like, all right, we got all these old shows.
Like we saw every episode of Flintstones. They made new Flintstone games for the PlayStation because like all the kids still know about the Flintstones.
Yeah, like
everyone still cares about that.
Like Flintstones Bowling, which people kept noting was on a list behind the Game of the Year prediction list. And that's for reasons related to work. You don't need to worry about that.
Now your brand only exists if a lot of weird adults want to have sex with one of the characters from your show, like Wednesday or Velma.
Yep. I mean, and I do want to have sex with those characters. So, all right. I've been playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and people watch me do that on stream on Giant Bomb. I started with Mike Tyson. And I was pretty happy with my performance. I felt like I was like actually like making the progress I needed to make to like show like I'm gonna get there. That game still just rules so hard. There is very few games that just understood what it was immediately more than Punch Out. Punch Out's like the first game, just like it just sprung out of the ground as this perfect thing and has remained so ever since. So I'm really enjoying that. And like kind of getting to the early parts of being like, man, speedrunning this game, of course, makes a ton of sense. It's just one quick little battle after another. And you could do all that in a certain amount of time. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is just like all the other games I've been speedrunning recently. So, I'm having fun with that prospect as well.
It's fun. It's getting me a bit of a speedrun itch. I don't know if I want to speedrun Punch Out specifically, but maybe something. That's it. That is just a fun game. It's so weird because like whenever Mike Tyson is still in pop culture all the time, and once every 10 years, I remember that I met him as a child.
Yeah, that was a great picture. Great picture.
Hugging me and my brothers at some airport.
And like in his prime, or like at least near his prime. So it's like
I think he either just got out of jail or was about to go to jail.
Not his prime then. Yeah.
No, it's like 90. I think it was like 95-ish. He's in the news a lot.
Though. Yeah, before the face tattoo.
Pre-face tattoo. Right. But pre-hangover appearance rehabilitating his image.
Yeah.
Also. So yeah. So that's just wacky. Gosh, Jeff, I don't know if we can go back to it. Somebody in the chat mentioned Dead Space, and I just forgot about that for the game of the year. Although I don't know. Do you think that's gonna be above some of these other ones in the top 10, anyways?
I feel like my Metacritic prediction was pretty low. And maybe Uncharted Wolf can remind me, but I don't know. I think it probably could. If it like really hits, obviously it could be up there, but I don't know. I feel we could put it right there next to Diablo.
Maybe above Diablo. I mean, I would put it above Redfall, but I don't know if you would.
No, I still want to have some faith in Redfall.
All right, we'll have faith in Redfall. People are also asking about Hogwarts, and I'm like, I'll just say nah.
Yeah, kind of nah. I had it on the list at the bottom and didn't even really actually consider it. We deleted it. Delete. Dilapidated Hogwarts.
Dilapidated Hogwarts. Dilapidated boat that can fly, and it's racist.
I also started, really honestly started at this time, the new Mario and Rabbids game, Sparks of Hope, and that's a very good game. It turns out
It is
really
good.
enjoying it. I like you. I don't know if I'll finish it, but I'm enjoying it so far. And I'm like looking at my Switch all the time, and like I got that. I got Bayonetta. I have Pokemon Violet. I'm like I could be playing any one of those. Let me just get one of them out of the way, and then maybe look at picking up one of the others. But now it's like tonight. Fire Emblem Engage is here. Fire Emblem Engage is coming out.
Oh my God,
yeah.
You are correct, sir.
It's gonna be out like what? Like maybe comes out
a couple hours.
Yeah, like 2 hours, right? So, yeah, that's I don't know. I'm gonna get it, but it's like, am I gonna immediately start playing that one, or is that gonna be another one that's just sitting off to the side of my Switch? And again, it's like I want to be playing my Switch more, but my kids take it all the time now. Makes it really difficult. But still, it's like I probably will try to jump into it, but if I could get through Sparks of Hope first, maybe I'll just stick with that for now and get to Engage in a couple of weeks. But it's not like things are going to slow down. There's a ton of games coming out, so yeah, it's we'll see. But so far, Sparks of Hope has been very solid, a very fun time. I think that they really figured out how to make that game really sing in the second time around. It's a shame that it's like it did what it did in terms of numbers, but whatever.
Who have you met Edge yet?
I think I'm right. I think I'm getting ready to meet Edge because I just played it for like the first little bit. But yes, I think I'm about to meet Edge. Yeah.
Well, I hope you keep having fun with it. Maybe I should go back to it. But yeah, Fire Emblem now. But who knows? Maybe it'll be as distasteful as I feared. Then I'll be begging for Rabbids.
Yeah, maybe. I doubt you're ever going to be begging for Rabbids. 18% of our viewers did not watch any significant amount of Looney Tunes as a kid. Sean pointed out, like, oh yeah, there was like remakes and stuff, reboots, and that
seems almost like pretty good. But I feel like as a kid, Jeff, there was no way anybody our age did not watch a significant amount.
That is
of
correct.
Looney Tunes.
Yes, it was everywhere.
You had to.
Yes.
Although, granted, they kind of had a resurgence in the '90s with things like Space Jam and whatnot. Granted, there was a Space Jam 2 recently.
Yeah, I guess
that was a nostalgia grab.
Right, and it almost felt like a Warner Brothers movie more than a Looney Tunes movie, which is weird. Also, Nick Special Nick. I don't know who that is, but was in chat saying he likes Super Punch Out better than Punch Out. Sometimes I feel that way as well. They're both really good games.
I don't feel close to that way, but I haven't played nearly as much as Super Punch Out.
Super Punch Out's fantastic. It's so good. Okay. Well, Mike, I think that's going to do it. Anything else? Any other Super Chats that we missed?
Let's see. I think we are caught up on Super Chats. I think we did everything that we are supposed to do. Thank you so much, everybody. A lot of people watching today, a lot of people supporting us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for, the crappy day, kind of crappy day for me, crappier day for Jeff, but crappier day for the people laid off. So that please show them
from everywhere,
their support as well. Thank you.
But especially
so much.
Jess and Jason, definitely, and Justin Fashone. Give them their love. Give them our love. Give them your love. She's still live right now. So I'm gonna put it in chat. So you guys can go over there.
Yes, unofficial raid.
Yes, unofficial raid. That was just the word Voidburger and Twitch. So I'm gonna just type it out.
Just everyone say beef and cheddar boys love you.
Yes. Shut up, Beach Raven. I'm not 65 years old. I know the link was bad. Thank you, Sean. Jesus Christ. It was like 2 tries too, and I couldn't get it right. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Unofficial raid. Say the beef and cheddar boys love you. Feel free to go right now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself. Goodbye. Mike, I forgot to play the music. What are you doing this weekend?
I hear music. Nah.
Oh, no,
I
there it
am.
is.
Oh, you're playing it now. I see.
Yes,
I see.
I played
This
it late,
weekend.
whatever.
When we start thinking about the weekend,
Yeah, you're right. Fair enough. What do you got going on
I don't
tomorrow?
know. I should go out.
Work.
I should see if any friends want to go out. We can go get some.
I got a buddy
beers
who
somewhere.
I've known for years and years. He worked over at I think he still works at Polygon, and he kind of lives in our area and he wants to hang out soon. And I was like, you know what? Maybe we'll get, because he's like at a center point between you and me. I'm like, maybe we should all just get together, go do something.
There you go.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
we
You would
should
like. You would like him. Another
maybe
Midwest
we gotta-
Ohio video games journalist.
There
So
you go. We can hang
Yeah.
out in Akron or something. Yeah. That'd be.
thanks, Christian, for that. That's
Yep.
good looking out. People
Good.
dropping more links. I'll put their links. If you're listening to the audio version later and you're like, oh man, I want to like get in on this, please.
Check.
Please
Sorry, go ahead.
check
You're
it
saying
out.
important things.
It'll be in the description of the podcast, so check that out as well.
Jeff, I make money in Mega Man Legends by kicking dogs. It's the most efficient way. I just wanted you to know that.
What are you talking about?
I kick dogs and I
saw
kick,
people in
well,
chat saying he kicks dogs, and I
Yeah.
just didn't even want to ask. What do you mean?
That's how I make zenny, and that's the money, and I need the zenny. So I kick a
does that
dog.
does it make you feel bad, or
No, I like it.
you don't
It's
feel
fun.
anything? Okay.
No, I feel joy. I feel things, but they're positive emotions. Because you kick the ball into the dog, or you kick a dog into a dog, and you try to avoid hitting the man, and then the game says good job, and you get money.
What happens if you hit the man?
You lose points. That's bad.
Ooh.
Men are better. Men have dominion over the animals.
Men have souls.
Jeff.
Right. Yes. So
Yes.
I'm sorry. Didn't know we were gonna like
Jeff.
reference the Bible. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
we're gonna get comments now. Mike shouldn't joke around kicking dogs.
You are absolutely gonna get comments about that. People
Good.
take that shit very
They
seriously.
do. They do.
Absolutely.
Well, good news, Jeff. Video games aren't real.
Yeah, video games aren't taking it seriously because it's not real.
Look, to
Well,
get Mega
people-
Man Legends, it has to be okay.
Yeah, well, how were people in chat feeling about it? Did it just become like a little meme?
Oh, they don't like it.
Oh, okay.
They told me to. They told me to stop, and I said, "No, this is good."
Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. Until next time, goodbye.
Eat ass. Eat ass.
Sandwich.